Hello guys, Nigel with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench. Welcome back to the channel, and here we have pack 67 through 70 of the Hachette Lancaster Bomber B.III Dambuster. As you will see, this is a slightly different format this month for these four magazines. I've got them all unpacked and I've got all the parts here in their boxes. I'll explain why that is in a minute. I also want to excuse my arm. I was having a play fight with my mate's dog last night, and he won. So there we go. It was just his claw. He just got a bit overzealous. That was all. So pack 67. Now, what we always do with these videos, we always look at the magazine first, and then we go on and build that segment, and then move along, or make another video, whatever. But in this video, I'm going to look at all four magazines together, and I'm not going to do any building. And I'll tell you why. Because in pack 67, as we can see here, we've got a propeller to do. And as you know, we've done this twice already, because this is the third one. So there's no point in me covering this again. In fact, we've actually done it 4 times already, haven't we? Because we've had to rebuild 2 of them. So we've actually done 4 already. This is like the 5th time, because we've had to rebuild them because they gave us the wrong backing plates. So there we go. So we've got the propeller there, and we've got the little supports and everything for it. I don't know if they've done anything about changing the pitch of the props or the direction of the propellers, because they're incorrect. If they haven't, we can always sort that at the end. So propeller going together as we've seen before. And then in this magazine, just want to check we're not missing anything. No, we're not. We've got the Martin B.26 Marauder. After serious problems involving takeoff accidents were solved, the B.26 became the most successful medium bomber of World War II. Absolutely gorgeous aircraft. I can't understand why nobody's done a kit of it in 32nd scale. There were rumours that HK models might do it, but I don't know. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful aircraft. There's lots of kits available of it if you want to go and build yourself one. I believe the ICM one is quite nice. But there's an old Hasegawa 72nd scale one, which I believe is quite nice as well. There's also the Airfix ones. So I think in 48 scale you've got ICM and you've got the old monogram. I think that's about it. It's unbelievable, really, for such, as it said, the most successful medium bomber of World War II, and it's not very vastly kitted, shall we say. Not when you compare it to the B.25. You can get that in all scales and all different marks and different layouts. And I guess that's one of the problems. It only has one real. There's obviously going to be different versions of it with slight changes, like on the Lancaster. But with the B.25, you've got the big gun nose, you've got the glass nose. You can have cannons sticking out of it everywhere. But anyway, it's not to be confused with the A-26. The A-26 was the Invader, and that was an attack aircraft. This is the B-26, the bomber. So there we are. And then coming over the page, Luftwaffe night fighter units. Initially, German night fighter units were a deadly threat to Allied bombers, but they were overwhelmed as the war went on. Yeah, we got radar and everything, didn't we? But these things had a very, very clever, deadly device called Shrek music, and they basically had guns facing upwards out of the fuselage, and they would come along quietly and get underneath the Lancaster and just shoot it out of the sky from underneath. And obviously, Lancaster being what it was, it couldn't shoot down. So there you go. So you've got here, there's a BF-110G night fighter. You can tell with all the big FUG radar on the front. And then here we've got a Junker 88, which is absolutely gorgeous, lovely aircraft. You can get a beautiful 32nd scale model of that to go in your with your Lancaster from Revell, which they will probably re-release at some point. But they fetch quite good money these days. Anyway, so there we go. So that's issue 67. Now, as I say, normally we would now move along to 68. But as you'll see in 68, well, we move along to building. As you can see, 68, we've got another engine. I really don't understand why Hachette have done this. We have spent the last God knows how many magazines just working on engines and propellers. Why don't they break this up a bit and have us working on a wing now, and then do the engine? Then do a prop, and then start working on the tailplanes, and then do an engine, and then start working on the rear section of the fuselage, and then build the engine into. Because I can tell you what's going to happen now. We'll have these 4 parts here. We'll be building up the engine and the prop, okay? And we can already see that in pack 71, we've got more engine parts. So there'll be another couple of stages after that, and then we'll be putting the engine into the nacelle. It's going to be July before we actually get to do anything a bit more interesting. It's a bit frustrating the way it's planned out. So there we go. But it is what it is. So you've got the engine going together here. They have simplified the construction a bit by adding the exhaust and everything, so you don't have to. But it's all a bit pointless because you can't see any of it when it's all closed in anyway. So, you know, Lancaster's in action. Lancaster Cruise. There's some famous photographs there. This one appears in lots and lots of books, and also shows you the inside of the flaps were black, which is always a big point of discussion. And there's a B.II there, or Mark II. So there's, well, I thought it was a Mark II as well, but it's not. It's got the Merlins. So there we are. LM227 item, entering service in July 44. She flew 100 missions in a remarkably short time during World War II. And there we go. 576 Squadron photographed in front of LM227 following the aircraft's 100th mission. So I'm very proud they were too. Notice it's got no exhaust shrouds. That's unusual. Very unusual. Was she a B1 or B.III? So that's Dottie having a little moan there. She's got the paddle blade propellers, but no exhaust shrouds. How unusual. No guns either, obviously they've been removed. And it looks like there, it's either a funny reflection. It looks like the top of the nose blister is overpainted black. That's unusual. Anyway. The squadron had been created on 25th November, its very first aircraft being Mark 1 and Mark III Lancasters. She was a Mark 1, powered by 4 Packard Merlin 24 engines, and it arrived at the squadron. Was a Mark 1. I thought the Mark IIIs had the Packard Merlin engines. Maybe that's just, I'm not sure. I'm sure somebody can tell us in the description down below, or in the comments area. But I always thought a Mark III was the version that had the American engines. Who knows? Henry Hap Arnold, the man who single-handedly created US air power from humble beginnings and saw it become a strategic strike air force. Yes, those brave young men from America come over here, doing day runs, fighting for someone else in a way, I guess. But, you know, very, very brave. Lots and lots of losses. But yeah, it was awful times, wasn't it? Awful. So that's 68, and then 69. Again, we're on the engine. This is going to be building up another cylinder bank now. It's drawn out. Okay. I can imagine how some of you were feeling. And then we get, once again, we've got the Junkers 88, fantastic aircraft. Originally designed as a fast daylight bomber, the Junkers 88 eventually became one of the most versatile aircraft of World War II. Yeah, very, very many variants. Yeah, too many variants, there you go. Because you had the 188 and the 288 with the great big glass nose and everything. There's loads of them. As I say, if you want to build a 32nd scale to sit next to your Lancaster, the Revell one is a beautiful kit. Operation Market Garden, the epic defence by the British 1st Airborne Division at Arnhem against overwhelming odds has entered the annals of military history. I can't bloody talk today. But there we go. You can see some soldiers there, all in the fighting. Incredible. Very, very brave men indeed. And of course, this week we remember them more than usual. Outboard port engine, great. So there's the shaft going through that's going to bind up and no doubt not spin the propeller. We've got these little vinyl covers going on and everything, and this vinyl pipe in the bottom. As I say, if all this sort of stuff scares you, you don't want to do it, don't do it, because you can't see any of it anyway. It's absolutely pointless. LM550 beer, let's have another. This Mark III Lancaster flew with numbers 153 and 166 squadrons during World War II, notching up 118 missions. Wow. LM550 on the morning of 13th of March 1945, with the aircrew standing and the ground crew kneeling. The aircraft displays 100 knot out on its fuselage. There you go, 100 knot out. So there we are, very nice indeed. You can see it's got the large later blister. It's got needle props, even though it's a Mark III. Some people think the Mark III is is determined by the paddle props. It's not, you can have a Mark III or a Mark I with paddle props. And there we go. And there's the LM550's unusual insignia of a beer barrel with beer mugs underneath to record the number of sorties. That's probably what I would have on my aircraft, isn't it? Short Sunderland, beautiful, beautiful, big old British flying boat. You can go and see one of these. They've got one at Hendon, a real one, in its own hangar, and it's lovely. And you can climb up and have a look inside and everything. So there we go. They had instead of having a bomb bay in the bottom, obviously they had a bomb room, and they had racks. So they'd open up the doors on the side and slide the bomb racks out and drop them off the wings. Incredible aircraft, beautiful looking thing. Lovely. So there we go. And then, as you say, in part 71 we've got more engines. So there's going to be 71. I've got a feeling that finishes the engine, and then we'll be on to the nacelle. So that'll be 72 and 73. And then 74 might have something a bit different for us. We shall see. So yeah, we wait and see to next month. So I will see you next month. Here's the 4 parts. I'll get all these built up and put in the box ready. But obviously you've seen me do this countless times. You don't need to see it again. So I shall say goodbye, and I'll see you next month. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.